Hey everybody, hope everybody's doing well. Doing a quick video here. So once you open up code blocks, you can create your first C++ program and sort of understand the few basic commands that you're going to need to get started. So first things first, if you click on this icon up here, it'll give you a menu where you can open up a new file. So we're going to create a new file that's going to be a C++ source file. Pick on that, click go or double click on it. Make sure that you get C++, and then we're going to pick a place to save it. So I'm going to open up. I'm going to call this, howdy folks, and click on save in a folder, someplace that you're not gonna lose it. And then I click on finish, and I get brought up with a nice blank screen. C++ has some syntax that we're going to learn, and at first it can be a little confusing, but it gets much better with a little bit of practice. And the more you do it, the more a lot of these things will become automatic. So I'm going to copy in a program that I wrote that kind of shows a lot of the basics, and then I'm going to zoom in so you can see it here. So first things first. C++ programs always have a section of includes up here at the top. They'll always start with a hashtag include, and then there'll be different things that you associated with them. In this case, we're including IOStream, which is all of the input-output functions of C++. So this lets us send messages out to the console, get input back from the user, and do a bunch of stuff. So this is probably going to be in almost every program we write, so it's a good first one to start with. Second thing here is called using Namespace Std. That just saves down some typing. We'll explain more how why that works a little bit later, but for right now, cuts out on your typing, makes it a little easier to see what's going on. And then the last big thing that every program will have, for the most part, is a big main. And the main is kind of like where the guts of your program runs. So you'll see here there's a bunch of things trapped inside of these brackets, and that's all the things that are going to run for my program. So you'll see a couple of things right here. Right, this little zone has some blue keywords, and these are variables. So you can see here I have the variable, its name is A, this one's name is B, and this one's name is sum. And these are all type int, which means that they're integer type variables, which means they can only hold whole numbers. So for instance here, I said the value of 7 is going to be stored into A, and we use this single equal sign to mean the assignment of a value into a variable. And there's lots of different types of variables. We just happen to use integers here. But what can we assign when we're creating a variable? So it's actually, what it does is it creates space in the computer's memory to set aside a spot that we're going to call A, and it's going to be able to hold information. So now I can change the value of A, and there'll always be like a nice safe spot in memory so it won't get forgotten. So for this case, I made two variables and I gave them a value, and then I made a third variable and I actually said A plus B is the total of them. So ideally that would be 7 plus 22, and that should be 29 at that point. So we'll talk more about that. And then I want to present that to the person that's using the program. So I made these what we call cout statements, and the cout statements just print out some values to the console. So anything the cout needs to do, it's a stream, right? So we see this IO stream up here. The console output stream is kind of what this is short for, and what these little brackets say are anything after the brackets should head over to my output stream. So in this case I used some quotes, and in the quotes is anything that I want to kind of say, like in sentence form. And then at the end of this I used a little command that said end the line. You might be wondering, well, why do I have to tell it to end the line? Well, C++ kind of works like a typewriter, right? So a typewriter, you would type and then if you stop typing, the next key that you hit would, just be where you left off. And so even if I printed out this whole sentence, it wouldn't know that I didn't want to print something right after it. So I have to tell it, hey, I'm done with that line, let's go on to the next. So for instance, this next line right here, you'll notice I actually am printing a bunch of things. So one, I'm printing out the phrase the sum of, and then I said, hey, wait, we're going to get something different. So I have another set of arrows. Then I put in the name of my variable, which is going to substitute that variable, the value inside that variable, and print it out. Hey, wait, something else, another phrase, something else, another variable, something else, so on and so forth. The only thing that's really different about this is that I sort of did more than one thing in one line, just a little time saver in terms of typing. And also, this is a pretty common thing that we want to do, right? Fill in the blanks. Notice here at the end, I wanted to print out an exclamation point, but I also have this strange \n thing. Turns out there's two ways to tell the program to end the line. One is to do an end line command like this. The other one is you can use a /n. The nice thing about the /n is that you can sort of do it inside a block of text. And so you can, if you're clever about that, you can put a lot of new lines in without having to type all this very much. So this can be nice for formatting text. This is called an escape character, this /n. And if you check out the packet associated with this, there's a list of them, or you can Google for C++ escape characters, and you'll see there's things that do tabs and beeps and horizontal spacing and a few other things. So the next big one is let's get input from the user. So how this program works, let me run it real quick. So if I click on this gear with the play button, it'll build it and run it. And I will get something here. It says, howdy, welcome to my adding program. The sum of 7 and 22 is 29. That looks pretty good. Now give me a new value for A. I'll type in 11. It says the sum of 11 and 22 is 29. Wait a second. That doesn't seem right. Oh, we need to update the sum. That's better. Check this out. The sum of 11 and 22 is 33. So what's that all about? One of the really common mistakes people make is they think if we make a statement like this up at the top, that if we change A, then sum is automatically changed later in the program. And so here I asked for a new value of A, and we could see that it, when I typed in 11, it did 11 and 22, right, which was B, is sum. That should have been 33, right? 11, 22, 33. But it gave us the old value, right? 22 plus 7, because I didn't actually re-update the value thing. I changed A, but I didn't say, hey, look, sum is now equal to A plus B. So that's something that we always got to be mindful of, is that we're going to want to update values, to make sure that they change, because we're going to read sort of down our program. In these kind of programs, we're reading very much top to bottom. We're going to go through as a sequence. If things change, computer's not super smart. It doesn't know that thing changed, so we got to tell it, hey, by the way, redo the sum. Okay, and so then after I do that, the sum ends up being correct. So that's pretty much the basics. If we want to, there's a lot of different mathematical operators that we can do here. We can do multiplication, which is the asterisk. We can do division, which is the /, and subtraction are all the basics. And that should be good to get you started. So two variables that might be sort of useful for you is, so if I make an integer, and let's just call it Bob, and I try to save it at 7.5 here. If I see out Bob, okay, to kind of start, and I'm going to run it. And so here we go. Notice how it says 7 right there. Like right there, kind of in the front. I'm pretty sure I put 7.5 there. Well, 7.5 is an integer. That's something else. That's a decimal value. And so if I wanted to actually print out 7.5, I need to put double. And what happens is if you put a decimal value into an integer, it just throws away the decimal point. It turns out to be really handy at times, but good thing to notice. Here's 7.5. If I want to have it print out a word, I can use the string command, and anything that I want to show up, I put it in quotes. And now, when I run it, hey look, it says Bob Howdy. And so we can hold variables that way. Turns out there's lots and lots of variable types. You'll learn them all. Last thing I want to talk about is comments. So turns out maybe I don't want to use this block of code right now. So if I want to not delete it because I want to remember it, if I put 2 slashes in front of things, it makes them gray out like that, and then they won't get included as part of the program. So this is kind of a nice way to like test some code out. Say, hey, is this working the way I want, or maybe this part's broken. I can sort of remove it without deleting a bunch of work. But the main reason we use comments is that I leave myself little messages. This is a program that adds numbers together. Okay, and maybe I want to leave myself a little fancier message. I can do this. Oops. I can do a /* and a */, and I can get myself a nice block of text where anything I put in between those is grayed out. That's a great place to put a sort of an outline of your program or the problem. So anyways, that right there is a good little start to help you get ready to do some C++ code.